Hello, I'm Don Grundman. I'm founder and director of the National Straight Pride Coalition. This is Chapter 7 of our continuing video series, video book of how straight pride parades can save America. And as I was finishing in the last chapter, Chapter 6, but now Chapter 7 continue, that my own experience of waking up, as we now have a term woke in our time. I was woke by going to see a friend of a friend who I don't even remember his name. I think it was Bob, many years ago. But I encountered this lady in the hospital who was now in a semi-paraplegic state. Her hands would curl up and her legs equivalently. She could not speak except for mumbles, and no one knew what had happened to her. And the story regarding her was that she and her boyfriend were laying on the floor watching TV, laying on the floor in the house watching TV, separate sleeping bags. They go to sleep. He wakes up. She's not there. He thinks nothing of it. Goes back, wakes up a couple other times. She's still not there. So he goes to find her, and he finds her laying in bed. Her arms are such this way, curled up. She's in a fetal position, laying face up. Her legs are drawn up to her chest equivalently, and her eyes are dilated. And so they took her to the hospital. They performed every test you can find. They called it a syndrome. I forget the name of it. A syndrome is when medical doctors don't know what's happening, so they put it as a syndrome. No one knew what had happened to her. They couldn't figure out how to help her. And eventually she was taken home to Canada, but to be cared by her mother, because she was destroyed. But I found the background story, which I believe to be accurate. And the background story is that her boyfriend had given her an ultimatum when she got pregnant. The baby goes or I go. And so my belief is that this lady was shattered by an abortion because she realized that she had killed her child. And just like an engine with no oil, she seized up, and that was it. And it totally destroyed her, shattered her physically. Up to that was when it was a giant slap in my face to wake up to the reality of abortion. And that was just what was happened to her. I didn't even fully understand then how abortion literally tears a child apart. Tear an arm off, leg off, tear him literally to shreds. I didn't even realize that. But that was the beginning of my wake-up call of what abortion really is. And not only what it really is physically, and I've met countless women since then who they've been smashed in their soul by the realization that their child is dead, and they killed their child, and they have a permanent heartbreak. And does pro-choice give a damn about them? No, they don't give a damn about them, because they are weak sisters according to the pro-choice argument, because they couldn't stand up. As I heard an example of a lady who was on an abortion table, she began to cry, and she was shoved back down by the pro-abortion lady next to the pro-abortion lady of the clinic, and said, "Shut up and take it like a man." And so they could care less about the psychic pain, because the spiritual pain. Because remember, we're talking about two different religions. We're talking about Christianity, who believes you have a soul, and Satanism, humanism, which says the hell with that. You have no soul. You're just a slug, a bunch of tissue. So they can't give a damn about the tragedy that they hurt women, and that pain goes on and on when the child's birthday comes, or would-be birthday every year, when they cry. They could care less about their pain, because they have another objective, and that's to destroy the woman. When the woman when you go into it, when a lady takes her child into the clinic, what comes out are two things: a dead body, which goes down the Cuisinart of the facility, but you have a soul dead woman who's been killed in her soul without realizing it. She's committed soul suicide, and so she's destroyed. She's warped. The lady who walks in, the woman who walks in, possibly woman, walks out as a female. She's been destroyed, and she has a soul wound which can never be healed except through Christ, as we're talking about a spiritual healing of that hole, because it's a hole in the soul. And so we're talking about a devastating attack upon women, to shatter their souls and turn them into the undead who don't give a damn about life. It's to break a woman's normal, natural love of children, to break her soul, to warp it such that she doesn't care, because if she did care, she'd have to wake up to the pain of what's happened to her, that she's been tricked and fooled. She's been a fool. And she believed the liberation argument of so-called feminism, that you can have it all, and you can have a wonderful life, and you don't want to be dragged, you don't want to be a housewife. You don't want to take care of those little brats running around all day. You can do something greater. There's greater fulfillment. And remember, in the Bible it says, and I can reference this in many situations of why we're doing what we're doing, that Satan said to Christ, all this will I give to you if you will bow down and worship me. Mm. And so that's what feminism says in their own way. You can have the world, but the second part of the sentence, if you bow down and worship the religion of Satan, or in other words, kill your child. Is there such a thing as a feminism? Have you ever heard? I've never heard of it. Have you ever heard of a feminism which says women can be fulfilled without abortion? Mm. Every feminism that I've ever heard says women can only be fulfilled when they have abortion. The only way that women can get or females can get fulfillment is when they have the ability to kill their child. And that's why supposedly they're ranting and raving and screaming and shouting that they have my right, my body, my right, whatever. My right to choose. And in reality, there is no such thing as pro-choice. I'll just continue on other topics and get back to masculinity still, but there's no such thing as pro-choice. Pro-choice is when I go down to the Ford dealer and I can walk to the Ford dealer, I get all the information about all the Fords that there are. I walk across the street to the Chevy dealer or the Toyota dealer, I get all the information. Then I can compare and contrast and say, oh, I like a Chevy or I like a Toyota, whatever. That is pro-choice because you have full information. But the so-called pro-choice abortion industry never has and never will allow full information on all sides. They can't take their product and say, hey, our product of pro-choice or dead children is as good or better than yours is of children. They can never do that because they realize a woman in an emotional trauma, emotional distress who comes to the clinic, or a hardened heart or any combination who comes to the clinic to get abortion, if they said, oh, here's our product, and they showed what the product was, a dead child, a torn, shredded child, torn to pieces, that woman could wake up and say, what am I doing? Why am I here? They could wake up to their own humanity, which abortion industry is trying to strip from them and steal from them. And they would, boom, wake up and say, I'm out of here. They would realize, they would get it. They would be woke, as we say. But the abortion industry can never, never allow that. That's why they turn ultrasound machines away from a woman, so she can never see the movement of her child. Mm-hmm. That's why they always take information away from ladies outside of clinics, because they can't give them an option. So there is no such thing as pro-choice. It's an advertising slogan. It doesn't exist in reality, because that's the war leading on to femininity, which is one of the things we touch. You have femininity and you have feminism. Two opposites. Two total opposites, but feminism pretends to be femininity. It actually despises femininity. But it pretends to be a replacement for femininity. But femininity is where a woman can be a real woman and realize that only she has the power to carry a new life, a fantastic new life, to bring it into the world, as compared to denigrating that. She can celebrate that. But this entire advertising social engineering is to take children at the youngest ages, such as girls, and crush them from the idea of the value of human life, to tell them that, oh, it's just a clump of cells. It's worthless. It's nothing more than brushing your teeth to get an abortion. Mm-hmm. And then when they wake up later, who cares about them? Certainly not the deaf people. They don't give a damn because they're flushable. Because the idea is to crush their soul. That's the whole reason. Because again, we're in a religious war. So we're having men attacked. Just women are attacked. Femininity is under attack, just as masculinity is under attack. A broad range, sweeping attack to crush the basic foundations of what it means to be a man or a woman. So, my friends, we need to recognize this. We're under attack. We're under soul attack. And we need a soul defense. We need to realize, again, going back to the foundations, we are created beings. So we need to ask our Creator to protect us against this soul attack or lies. So, my friends, we're coming to the end of this 10-minute segment. God bless you for your time now. And this is the NationalStraightPrideCoalition.org. Please join us and support what we do. And God bless you in all that you do. And we'll continue our series ahead. Thank you.